Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, I'm Kevin O'Donnell, photographer, author, storyteller. And this is Behind the Door, videos that I create exploring and chronicling the people and the culture and the history and the astonishing natural beauty of the Door Peninsula in northeast Wisconsin, where I live. In fact, if this was Wisconsin, it'd be about here. Now, the things that I like to film are unknown to most tourists, but are really the backbone of what makes this place unique and world-renowned. So thank you all for continuing to tune in to the channel, for those of you who have subscribed, and for leaving your comments. I do appreciate them. You've been very kind with your comments. I do read them all, and I respond when I can. And that said, now, recently I've been receiving some comments, well, more like critiques, which is fine, they're all constructive, from some viewers who say that they enjoy the photographs, thank you very much, but they think it's maybe a little heavy-handed on the technical aspects of photography and getting a little bit away from the actual storytelling. Fair enough. But then, there are people who said that the stories just get in the way of the photography, and they want to know more about composition and lens choice and camera settings and all the, technical stuff. Well, it is basically a photography channel, but I try hard to balance them both, which isn't always practical, and not every video lends itself to such, a rigid format. And if I tried to please every viewer with every video, they would all pretty much be the same. And as a content creator, I find that incredibly boring, and I think if I find it boring, you might find it boring also. So that's why I like to mix it up. It's good to mix it up. Now, those of you, though, who are looking for a really good story, this is your week. And I can't tell you how much I enjoyed making this episode. It's an in-depth profile about one of the county's most beloved and admired individuals. A real character, and I mean that in a good way. A real Door County original, I have to say. And this is a story with a lot of moving parts. So from the first of several interviews to multiple shoots at multiple locations through to the final edit, it's taken me over a year to complete this video. Now, part of that was because, trying to schedule and plan around a raging pandemic wasn't so easy. But partly because the more I interviewed the man, the more the story grew on me and became increasingly better and more intriguing. And I think you'll find it that way too, at least I hope so. And I really just wanted to get the story right. So rather than listen to me prattle on, why don't we just roll the video? And again, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it very much. And for those of you who are new, I hope you give it a thumbs up at the end and subscribe if you're so inclined. And here we go with the chicken priest. You heard that right. So here we are, moment of truth, photo day. I'm a bit nervous about this because as behind the door projects go, this one took a lot of time, a lot of effort. I started planning this shot back in June when I first met the man. And it was on that very first day that I interviewed him that I realized the photo I wanted to take. It's just a matter of whether or not I could talk him into it. He seemed game. He's actually pretty excited about it. He called me last night and said, hey, I was wondering if after you take this photo, perhaps I could have a copy of it. I don't know what your policy is or if there's any copyright infringement. But I would like to use that to send out to friends and family as my Christmas card this year. Pressure's on. Oh no.
This is where I've been living for almost 12 years now. I think my good folks up in heaven must have had something to do with this place. I am a Door County native through and through, and I'm proud of that very much. in the sense that this is a very unique place, and I found that out as I advanced in age year after year, and find out that the world is not like Door County. I grew up in the town of Forestville on my mother's homestead. My mother was the youngest of 10 children of John and Margaret Breddle. I always loved flowers back on the farm. Helped my mother. I remember getting good manure for her flower beds and planting there too and so forth. Flowers have always been my been a hobby for many, many years. So now in my place here, well, I wanted flowers again. And, well, obviously I have 20 acres to plant flowers, but around the buildings I have quite a number of flowers. And hopefully with little help now, I still can handle that quite well. It really was through the prompting of my reverend uncle. He wasn't ordained at that time, but I was fascinated with him and what he did for all of us, and I decided that my vocation in life might be the priesthood, and then of course was ordained at the cathedral in Green Bay on June the 11th, 1960. In my assistant days at St. Mary's in Appleton, the pastor gave me the job of caring for his bed of roses, and plus other flowers there too, which I took care of. And then when I came to Corpus Christi, here again, there really was nothing there beforehand as far as decorating buildings with flowers and so forth, and I really got busy and made things look nice. Then besides that, I'm about 5 miles away from my home parish, the Holy Name of Mary in Maplewood. And that parish is so special to me in the sense that, first of all, my parents were born and raised and baptized in that area, and of course my grandfather, John, well, in fact I have 2 grandfathers, both are John, were part of that. In other words, both families. So in other words, Mom and Dad are from that parish, and believe it or not, from that little country parish, there are 7 priest sons and about 10 nuns. The parish is very, very supportive of religious vocations, very proud of their priest sons, and of course the girls that enter the convent. And it's just a pleasure to go back there and help them out. And again and again I get cards thanking you for what you do for us in the parish, because they have no resident priests there anymore, that being served out of Corpus Christi and Sturgeon Bay. What I also enjoy about this piece of property is right across the road from here I have one of the largest strawberry farms of Door County. And of course, when they are picking for 2 or 3 weeks in June, maybe the beginning of July, many cars go by. And I sit in my lawn chair and wave at people. And believe it or not, people even bring quarts of berries to me. So I don't even have to go across the road to pick them. So there are so many benefits that I have as a retired priest here on Shiloh Road. And I always like to think Shiloh Road, Shiloh is a biblical word, a place that you find the Old Testament. Amen. Yeah. I grew up, and I have 2 sisters, and it was a farm, rather medium in size. We had dairy cattle and a few hogs. Obviously we had chickens because that's where I kind of grew up and liking chickens very, very much. Besides that, of course, we had meager farm machinery in the sense of what we have today in comparison. And of course, I remember even as a youngster driving Barney and Jim, the team of horses. So I know a little bit about horsepower also. And it was then that I also began to get interested in exhibiting as a 4-H member chickens. And a little trivia is this: white earlobes, white eggs. So a pure black chicken lays a white egg. Once in a while you get two cockerels, young males, fighting, so you have to separate them, and they can recuperate in one of these pens. And I call that my intensive care, or solitary confinement. My dad worked, besides farming, worked in the shipyards for 40-some years here in Sturgeon Bay, and he would actually sell eggs to his fellow workers, and well, I took care of the chickens at home, and I would love to set hens and have little baby chicks, and then of course we always got about 200 from a hatchery, and we'd be butchering the cockerels or the males for Sunday meals, and that was a little ritual. I still can hear my dad, Tony, go out and catch the two biggest ones as they were starting to mature and be ready for the frying pan. Okay, now in my next pen here, another thing I really like is that I'm very close to the home Birdsall farm, which has been in the family for at least 150 years. It's about 4 miles away from here. That's like my second home. Another egg, by golly. This is a black leghorn. This is a brown leghorn. That is a Welsum. This is a Delaware. Two white ones are light Sussex. This little barred rock bantam. That's a New Hampshire red. And over here we have, let me see, offhand I just forgot the name of the breed. This is a Lakenbilder right here. Lakenbilder, it's a continental breed. I love my Rhode Island Reds. I love my Minorcas, and someday I'll have something else probably too. There's about 100 different kinds of chickens you can get. I'm in. That's about it. I guess I'm out on that one.
Wow, look at this space. So, what a great old barn, and what a great space this is. It's interesting, the braces that they use here are rough sawn wood. The bark is still on the edges. Why spend any more time and labor than you have to? Masters of efficiency, and what beautiful work. All right, so interesting guy, Father Tony. So the issue becomes then, what do I use for a photograph? How do I want to photograph him? I mean, he He was a priest for 50 some years. He was into roses and flowers of all kinds, and of course his chickens. He's known as the chicken man here in Door County. Just about anybody who's ever raised or showed chickens got their stock from Father Tony. He told me that they couldn't graduate from 8th grade when he was at Corpus Christi. The kids couldn't graduate from 8th grade unless they knew how many days it took for an egg to hatch in an incubator. He was just kidding, of course. But he had to point that out. He was just kidding. Great. So, what do I do? How do I take a photo of him? You know, he let me explore his farm here, and this barn is pretty magnificent. Now, seeing as he is the winningest entrant in Door County ever, he's won more blue ribbons and more show ribbons and more trophies than anybody in Door County in the history of the county fair. And I would like to bet that he probably has won more ribbons and more trophies than everybody else combined. I mean, when he walks away with 35 or 40 ribbons every year, and he's done this year after year. So, the space. I was thinking of using this space here in his barn. He's got boxes and boxes and boxes of ribbons. Taking those ribbons and laying them all out here on the floor, with him standing in the middle of it, holding a chicken or two. I like this idea.
So now, getting to the fair business, again, we go back to the home farm, and our family, the Birdsall family, has always been very active in exhibiting at the Door County Fair. In fact, my dad began with cattle, with a calf, back in 1922. And our family, my relatives, of course, myself, we really have not broken that, with the exception of the Second World War when there was no fair. And then I think when there was a polio problem with children, there was a fair that was canceled that year. And of course, the fair was canceled this year. But for the most part, the Birdsall family has been exhibiting cattle, plus many things, crops, and for myself, now flowers and chickens. And of course, we did not have a fair this year because of the pandemic, but last year I had about 55 chickens from my barn exhibited at the fair, plus, I would say offhand, I'd have to look at some records, I think around 40, 45 entries of flowers. So I just enjoy the Door County Fair in the sense of meeting people, and I have no qualms of conscience in meeting some of the ladies, whether they be from Brussels or Sturgeon Bay, in flowers. And as far as the chickens, it's a great thrill to see youngsters using my stock and winning in their ways, and with my own winning in the open class. And I might just say, it sounds like I'm bragging. In a way I am, but I say it in all humility. Last year, of the 8 champions, 6 were hatched in my house here in the basement where I have a big incubator.
I think there are 800 or 900 ribbons here. And I've emptied 2 boxes. 4 boxes to go.
5 years ago, approximately, I was approached by one of the parishioners here if I would give permission that there would be a reflection garden in my honor. Well, permission, and I thought, they'll never get off the ground anyhow. If they want to do something, that's fine. I'm not going to stand in the way of that. So I really didn't, I should say my idea was this, that, well, it's a nice idea, but I don't know if this will ever become a reality. Many different kinds here, many different kinds of trees too. Judging what's tomorrow at the county fair, this is a winner right here. Smoking hot.
What's the variety, fella?
Smoking hot. Well, it wasn't about maybe a year later, and they said we're ready to go. So on my birthday, was it 3 or 4 years? About 4 years ago now. Time flies so fast when you're retired. We had the breaking of ground here. This was just lawn, and I had in the middle here a little plot of roses. And anyhow, we broke ground and had a mass, and it was a wonderful little ceremony we had. So this was in the beginning of May. And then on my birthday, August the 2nd, it was dedicated. So it was a few months, maybe 3-4 months, about 3 months, that it took to get this all, the brickwork. Everything didn't look like it does now. Plants were very small, and I was amazed by all of the ironwork and so forth. And seemingly there were many donations, and it amazed me, and I was very humbled for the very fact that so many people were interested in this. So that's kind of a little bit of the story of the beginning of this, which was in a way a surprise to me, a great honor in all humility. And well, here I am a few years later, and my goodness, the tree right in front of me here is must have grown in its trunk a couple inches already. All of the shrubbery, and the shrubbery is trimmed every year. However, I did say this, in my old age, I would take care of the roses, but not of the rest of the shrubbery, because it just got to be too much with my gardens at home. And this is an ongoing thing. In other words, there's additions here, and there will be more additions coming up. As they say, what I'm hearing from some, the dream is to have a large cross on the gable end, the south end of the church here, and that would kind of like be an overlooking structure, so to speak, for the whole garden. And it's surprising how different groups, besides individuals, the KCs, especially in my rose garden there, the statue of St. Francis and a nice little plaque, and I've been their chaplain for years already. So that's really a little something about this, and it just seems to grow each year, and enthusiasm, and there've been a fair number of visitors that have come here, and of course my own relatives think this is the cat's meow, so to speak. So, that's it, folks.
You know, you think about it, it's pretty remarkable what he has accomplished in all his years. Not only through, you know, his divinity as a priest and all the successes that he's had wherever he's gone as a priest, but going back to his childhood, back on the farm, you know, I saw all kinds of placements here. They had Grand Champion, Best in Show. All the blues are first place, the reds are second place. A smattering of third place, like these here. Back when the county was cheap and they just gave paper awards. Those are for cattle and other livestock, not chickens. But the oldest one I found in here, actually, I found of all the ones he's won. Here's here, I think. Fifth place premium. I was born in 55 and I'm 65, so 66. Yeah, he was 20 years old, winning fifth place. But the earliest ones I have found so far are 1950. He'd have been 16 years old. Pretty remarkable. These are nice. These purple ones here. These are. It's funny. These silk ribbons. They were actually silk back in the day. Here it is. Father told me that that's the oldest one he has. Probably going back 75 years, he said. Anyway, I'm down to the end of my third box here. 3 more boxes to go. About this. Really nervous. Will all my efforts pay off? A decent photo. It's all that. Just a decent photo.
With my participation in the fair, I became a 4-H member in 1945, I believe it was. I had a heifer and sheep. That was my first, that was a little rally day that they had at the fairgrounds. And then in 1946, they began the regular county fair. So that started things out. However, prior to that, as a second grader or a first grader, I had some posters in the educational building at the fair. But then from 46, well, it would be to 59 that I was participating before I was ordained in 1960. But that was the end of it then. The 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, so about 30 years that I did not participate because I was elsewhere, not even in the county.
Sure.
And then in 1987, I was appointed back to Door County at Corpus Christi Church. And then, of course, I started participating in the fair in the open class, of course, not in the junior fair.
Sure.
With chickens and flowers, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Now, did you participate in other fairs when you were located elsewhere in the state? Or?
No.
I'm just going to take some test shots here, okay?
But then really got in earnest in 1987 when I came back here. It was
now, those 30-some years that you were gone, did you miss it?
Absolutely, I missed it.
Yeah.
And I did go to, you know, when I came back here, participated at the Wisconsin International Poultry Show at Janesville, and then it was moved to...
you got a Best in Show rating for that over there, by the way.
It could be, yeah, I believe there was, yeah.
Okay, go grab your chicken. I'm going to move this camera. He's just going to grab his chicken. Yeah, as I'm putting these out, I'm wondering, you know, because I look at the back of them oftentimes to see the year, and they were like decades missing, and I thought, oh yeah, he had been elsewhere in the state at that time, stationed elsewhere, so that's amazing, you know, when you think of all the years.
Oh, yeah, I've had all the years.
Yeah. Don't forget your chicken there.
Oh, yeah. Take care.
All right, take care. Be back tomorrow to clean this up.
Yeah, no rush, no rush.
Well, that was quite the experience. Let's just hope these turn out. Like I say, I'm not a portrait photographer, but I think he's got a really compelling story. We'll see. You be the judge. Thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks for subscribing. Thanks for leaving your comments. I really do appreciate them. And until next time, we'll see you down the road.